Right. Recording engaged. Hey, Jay.
Jeff, what's happening? How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am well. Kind of an odd time for me this time of year. I mean, it's like it's cold, but it's deciding to get warm. Really not a whole lot going on in the sports world that I care about. I mean, football's over. Even though free agency starts in like 3 weeks, so that's good. But baseball's in spring training. Hockey and basketball are kind of until the playoffs. So, and March Madness doesn't really crank up for another couple weeks. So, kind of a downtime for me as being the sports nut that I am. So, just chilling.
Yeah, I
Kinda.
feel like it. I'm the same way. I think this is kind of for everybody. So NFL downs, NFL's wound down. NBA is kind of still in the middle of their thing. There's plenty of games to go. Baseball hasn't really started yet. And I don't even know where hockey is, but they're somewhere in the middle of their season too, right? So kind of like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just coming off that Four Nations thing, which was supposedly really great for the sport itself. But yeah, now they're back in the regular season kind of boredom, if you will. So
I didn't watch a single match in the entire thing. I don't even know where you could watch it. I didn't have TV at all anyway, so I don't think I could have watched it if I wanted to. All I know is that Canada won, and I think was it an overtime or shootout
Canada
against
won in overtime.
US?
Yeah, Canada won in overtime. Connor McDavid scored the quote unquote golden goal, as they call it, to win the tournament, it was like 12 years after Sidney Crosby scored the golden goal in the Olympics to beat the U.S. in overtime. So that was the last time that happened. And, it was kind of cool because Sidney Crosby is on Team Canada still. I forget how old that guy is. He feels like he's been in the league forever, but he's still playing at a high level. And McDavid won. And, even it was just a big deal, obviously, for hockey and for Canada and all that kind of thing, because hockey's kind of their game. So, pretty cool.
Were there any fights?
No, this time there were no fights. It was fast. I can't believe, I don't know. Obviously, we've seen hockey games in person. We've seen a couple together, but I cannot believe how fast those guys move. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And McDavid is so fast. I don't know how, and he's so big and so strong and probably the best player in the game. And just unbelievable to watch him play hockey. So he plays for Edmonton. It's a shame his team isn't all that great, but watching Connor McDavid is something special if you're a hockey guy. So,
well, good. So that's over. And then is it just bragging rights? Is that they win? That's pretty much it? Or is there like an actual real world repercussion over this?
No, there's not real anything. It's just one of those things, kind of like the World Baseball Classic. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's kind of, I guess you would call it maybe they're trying to build some interest in the game, maybe a precursor to what could turn into the World Cup of hockey. But this time it was just the four teams. That's why they called it the Four Nations Face-Off. Like there was no Russia, there was no Germany, there was no Czech Republic or any other countries that generally still play hockey. They might add to that in the future, maybe, but I mean, they kind of did it all in 1 week or like a week and a half or something like that. So it's kind of hard to expand it that much when you're kind of limited for time. So,
well, hockey's got to be tough because it's quite an investment to play in. And obviously you need a rink, right? It's kind of an expensive sport to begin with. So
yeah.
Democratization of people being able to play is not as much as it is soccer, right? Or basketball or even baseball or
yeah, I mean, and then obviously, you're trying to get guys to play as opposed to, middle of the season, taking a break, taking vacation, because, it's not like these guys are automatic. You got to ask them and, do they want to give up their midseason break and that kind of thing. So, but again, it was exciting. The hockey itself was great. I know the other part of it is teams not necessarily not wanting their guys to play in these tournaments because they might get hurt. And I know the U.S. had a guy, Matthew Tkachuk, who might be out for the season because of an injury he suffered in the tournament. So that's what makes owners and general managers a little nervous about these kind of things, especially when they're in season. But, guys want to play for pride. They want to play for their country. And, it's a big deal to where USA or Canada or Sweden or Finland on your jersey and everything. And it just, it's a lot of pride. So a lot of guys do like to play, and, you kind of take the risk.
Well, I mean, injuries can happen at any point, and yeah, I'm sure there is insurance for the financial repercussions. It doesn't help a team be better, right? If one of their key players goes down, but yeah, I mean, then why play any games at all? Just because of the fear of any time can get injured.
Yeah, you can't live your life in fear of getting injured. Hell, I could get injured walking outside my door. So
right. You fall asleep long, and the next day you're day to day with a neck injury. It's just something wrong.
Right. So,
all right. Well, that's the NHL. What else? Anything sports wise? I know we want to talk about SNL.
Yeah, no, we definitely need to talk SNL. A lot of good stuff on SNL, and some stuff that I didn't think was very good. But we'll hit that. But yeah, sports wise, nothing's going on. I mean, White Sox are losing spring training games left and right, but it's spring training, so nobody cares.
Already mid-season form.
Well, yeah. Well, it's funny because I'm arguing online, and I'll admit I'm a big sports debater sometimes, and it's like, guys, this is spring training. These games don't matter. It doesn't matter that they lost. Like, for instance, the Sox today lost 11-3, and they gave up 9 runs in the first inning. And I went to the box score. I'm like, okay, you saw 2 pitchers who are never going to see the major leagues give up the 9 runs. So who cares? Big deal.
Right.
It's the guys
it's
that maybe
practice.
Yeah, it's batting practice. It's pitching practice for guys that.
Fielding.
Yeah. So it's all about reps.
Game experience,
Right. And so the scores don't matter. So, but people are like, oh my God, we're going to see it's the Sox. They're going to lose another 140 games. And you know what? They might. Who knows? But at this point, it doesn't freaking matter. And I tell people, if you're going to stress out about every game starting in spring training, you will give yourself a heart attack. It's ridiculous to me. But
yeah, call me in July. I guess.
Yeah,
there's too many games in the MLB season for me to care.
There are.
There
are. Yeah, if it's let's say it's mid-June and they're already 20, 25 games out of first, then yeah, we've got a problem. But until then, the first 60 games of the season, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, well,
at least not in my world.
Baseball.
So
baseball's boring to begin with. So. I know you love it. I can't get into it.
Yeah, stupid. So whatever.
All right. Why don't we get SNL? Do you want to do the?
I could not.
So
hear
I
you
watched
for some
the concert
reason.
already.
There you go.
I watched the concert.
Okay.
And then last time we chatted, I kind of told you a little bit about it. You hadn't watched it yet, so you've watched the concert. So why don't we start with the concert, and then we'll actually get into.
I have watched the
concert. The 50th anniversary special. So let's start with the concert. Thoughts? Go.
Okay, so my original thought is, and I knew this beforehand, obviously, but the band, The Roots, are unbelievable. Those guys, and I know, what is it? Is it Questlove that plays drums? Mm-hmm. And it was mainly his guitar guy, and I forget who plays lead guitar for him, but what a talent those guys. I mean, those guys can play anything and everything, and I was just unbelievably impressed with everything. I thought the music itself was fantastic start to finish.
Yeah, it was a good run. I'd say there was a couple ones I didn't care for, but that's okay. Not every artist was for me.
Right. Like,
what was your favorite?
Oh boy. Okay, so I took notes on all of them, believe it or not, and I'm not going to go through everything. But for me, my favorite, probably Eddie Vedder. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Obviously, Snoop Dogg, good. Nirvana with Post Malone, I thought that was good.
That was way better than I thought it would be, because I don't really care for Post Malone to begin with, and he was good.
Obviously, love Jack White at the end. Yeah. White Stripes fame. But I'll tell you who impressed me the most. There were 2. Actually, there were 3. I thought Devo was really good, even though they didn't play the song I thought they would. They didn't play Whip It. But,
you mean the song everybody thought they would play?
Yeah, right. They did not play Whip It. I couldn't tell you the title of the song, but, obviously they've been around for a long time, and they were still doing the Devo thing.
They did Uncontrollable Urge.
Yes, yeah, and I thought it was good. But I'll tell you what, Bonnie Raitt for 75 years old was really good. I know she sang one of her hits, and then she sang that duet with Chris Martin from Coldplay. I thought that was really good. And then for 78 years old, I thought Cher was fantastic.
She was good, right?
Yeah, I was like, wow.
Yeah, she put it out there, and hey, man, anybody who's willing to get up there and sing like that is totally, good. But you can tell it seemed like the back half of the set list was stronger as the night got on.
I would agree with that.
Post Nirvana, which is Post Malone and Nirvana. That's when you had Bonnie Raitt. That's when you had Cher. That's when you had Lady Gaga. That's when you had Jack White. Like the first half was just kind of although, I'm surprised you haven't brought up Backstreet Boys yet.
I'm sorry, say it again. I lost you for a second.
I'm surprised you didn't bring up the Backstreet Boys.
I wasn't going to bring up the Backstreet Boys because I am not a Backstreet Boys fan. But I will tell you, I didn't know Jerry Seinfeld was.
The whole audience was, man. They came out and they rocked it. It was, it was a good, fun, thing. Obviously, everybody knew the lyrics, so it's always cool when you see like the audience singing along with something like that. Am I the world's biggest Backstreet Boys? No, I don't really care, but it's fun to see those kind of experiences.
It was cool. It was cool to see Lady Gaga sub for JT on Dick in a Box. That was funny. I haven't seen anything from Chris Parnell in years, and he was really good. Obviously the Will Ferrell Anna Gasteyer thing.
Yeah, that was really good. It
was funny, but it went a little long. It did go a little longer
than I thought it was. I wonder if they were stalling for something.
Well, it was like
longer than it should have.
That felt like their halftime show. Like it was like almost right halfway into, the show. And to follow that up, oh my God, this was outside of Miley Cyrus, because I think she's trash. I'm not a fan of hers at all. But I don't understand the fascination with Jelly Roll.
How are you?
I don't get it. I think that guy has no talent whatsoever. And I would even say that for his own music. I've now seen him twice in tribute type situations. In SNL, it was Johnny Cash, and then at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it was Ozzy Osbourne, and I thought he was horrible with both.
Well, he did, or Johnny Cash this one. He did I Walk the Line and Ring of Fire.
Yeah,
it was very forgettable from my perspective.
I'm not a Jelly Roll guy. Mumford & Sons, I'm not. I just don't get into them. Arcade Fire, I don't get into them. But
52s, they did Love Shack. That was great.
They did with Fred Armisen on drums.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool.
Yeah. I pointed out and it says, that's Fred Armisen on drums.
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, that's Michelle's favorite song of all time is Love Shack.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So did she watch it?
She did not. I told her that she would enjoy that part, but she did not, hasn't tuned into it yet. But I will say this for Mumford & Sons, okay? Not my kind of music, but a guy who can sing, play lead guitar, and hold a beat on a bass drum at the same time. It's pretty damn cool.
Yeah. Anybody with musical talent, I'm always in awe of them because I have zero musical talent whatsoever.
Yeah, I do too. And I never knew that they were British. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I will say their cover of at the end with Simon and Garfunkel, the boxer, I thought was really good.
Yeah. So thumbs up. You liked the concert?
Oh, for sure. But okay, let's get into something though that I noticed. I actually noticed it during the Mumford & Sons set because they played on that side stage. Why do people, when they go to concerts and everybody's kind of sitting down and you could see fine, you're looking up at the show and all that stuff, why do people either in the front row or in the middle feel the need to stand up and knowingly block the people behind them and not give a crud about it? They just have to stand and do their thing, and it's just like, that would bug the heck out of me. And I don't understand.
How do you stay seated for Mumford and Sons, man? I mean,
okay,
the
but
music
I mean,
is filling you. You've got to get up and move.
Hey, okay, if everybody does it, fine. But if you're the only two people in the middle of the audience that are rocking and rolling, I don't get it.
Somebody should throw an orange at that person and have them
Yeah,
sit
you're
down.
right? Yeah. Hit them right in the you-know-what.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I mean, as a short guy, yes, absolutely. Sit the fuck down.
Yeah.
I can't see. Yeah.
But,
Plants,
whatever.
I don't know. Were they seat fillers and they weren't instructed to stay in their seats? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, God, it felt like that was a who's who of celebrity Hollywood / music was in that audience, man.
Yeah, every time they cut, it was like, oh shit, like so-and-so's there.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Jack Nicholson there. You saw John Hamm in the front row. You saw, Jesus, I could go on forever as to who you saw. Every SNL, well, most SNL alums were there. I mean, even I was pissed off that Snoop Dogg brought Jelly Roll back on the stage. That's what irritated me.
At least he did, but you know what? At least he did Gin and Juice.
He did. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. And it was, I'm always concerned when they do something like this, they'll like have a song that nobody gives a shit about. It's like, why are you doing this? Oh, it's because my new album is promotion. Great. Promote it somewhere else. I want to hear something that I know.
Yeah. And how about two different artists covering Tom Petty? You had Eddie Vedder in the beginning doing, was it Waiting? And then Snoop Dogg covering Last Dance with Mary Jane, which I know he recorded, but I thought that was cool. And Eddie Vedder ripping a Corduroy, oh man, that rocked. That's one of my favorite Pearl Jam songs. I love that song.
Yeah, I think it's a great one too. It's one of my favorites too. It was a great concert. I mean, it could have easily not been that way, but it was just jam packed too. There was, I'm sure things were cut for TV and stuff like that, right? Intermissions or whatever. But if you watched the rebroadcast, it moved very quickly. There were no commercials, and it was just boom, 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 boom. And, one after another.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I would love to see Nirvana and Post Malone take that show on the road. That'd be awesome.
I don't know if he can sing that well.
I'm not saying he sings great, but I thought for what it was, and I've seen Post Malone cover other Nirvana stuff, it's actually pretty good.
His best trick was taking his cigarette and then putting it in his guitar strings.
Yeah, right.
And then playing with the lit cigarette. On the end of his guitar. I thought that was classic.
So I don't remember how old was. Let's see, Kurt Cobain was what, 27 when he died, I think.
Yeah, I think something
and that
like
was
that. 27.
And that was what,
94.
94. Okay. So that's what, 31 years ago. So he would be 57. So I'm just thinking about how old Chris Novoselic looked.
It's more than that. It's 25. It was 94. So 16 plus 25, 41 years ago.
Oh, so 41 years. Okay. So those guys are in their mid 60s.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, then I guess, yeah, because I just thought Chris Novoselic looked really old, whereas Dave Grohl, granted, we've seen Dave Grohl and Pat Smear, obviously both being in Foo Fighters, you see them, they're more relevant, whereas Chris Novoselic, you don't know what the heck he's been doing for 40 years, Yeah,
no idea. I mean, maybe he's been living off his Nirvana money. Good for him.
Yeah, maybe. And I forgot how tall that guy is. That guy is tall. But, no, really good. I thought the concert was great.
Real good. All right. How about the actual Saturday Night Live episode, the special?
I thought it was good. It had its moments. I thought Black Jeopardy was funny. Eddie Murphy doing Tracy Morgan right next to Tracy Morgan. I thought that was hilarious.
I love everybody's impression of Tracy Morgan, especially when Tracy Morgan does Tracy Morgan, but like Eddie Murphy's is good. Have you ever heard Jay Moore's impersonation? His is great too. Like, it seems like anybody who can do Tracy Morgan is just really good at it.
Yeah, I think Tracy Morgan's a riot. I think that guy is so funny. And it's funny because I can't tell if it's all an act or if just some of it is that's really how he is. Because, I mean, he's just so
somewhere
good.
in between. Yeah, I don't know.
He's so good at what he does, and I just think he's hilarious.
I think the show 30 Rock, every script, that at every line, it was like Tracy, just be yourself.
Yeah, just ad lib what you think would go here.
Yeah, exactly. Black Jeopardy was good. I mean, there were a lot of classic sketches in there. I think that they brought back characters like it kind of started off with Denise from the sisters who like dances. She has like
Kristen Wiig. Yeah, she's always good too. Yeah, Kristen Wiig is a riot.
Yeah, the Black Jeopardy was good. I thought Steve Martin's opening monologue was good. He joked saying it's probably the weakest part of the show, but I thought it was good.
He has a very dry sense of humor, and I've always enjoyed his just sarcasm at life. And yeah, I've always liked Steve Martin. Very good.
I think Steve Martin has gotten. I've appreciated him more the older I get, but even more so when I see him in conjunction with like Martin Short.
Oh yeah,
like they make such a good team, and Martin just rips on him left and right.
Oh, I know.
I love the fact that he's constantly roasting him.
Yeah, it is good. It is good. Steve's always a good sport, though. You have to appreciate that. So.
Yeah, he knows it's all good fun. There were a couple sketches that I was like, okay, I'm not sure if this is an instant classic like that Domingo one where it's like the bachelorette party and like Pedro Pascal is up there. It's like that just got introduced, I think, within the last maybe couple of years, and I don't think it's strong enough to be its own thing.
Well, I know it was pretty good when what's her face? Ariana Grande was the bridesmaid and they did their thing, and then I think it was what's her name? Sabrina Carpenter kind of took it the next round. And now, you add the groomsman thing, and they brought Bad Bunny in as the half brother or whatever. And yeah, it's like they took it a little far. I think the original sketch was pretty funny, but it's like, okay, this is kind of worn out.
Is it 50th anniversary funny? I feel like that could have been any number of other things.
Yeah.
For that time. Did you catch, I know you don't like Miley Cyrus, but for singing Sinead O'Connor's Nothing Compares to You, I thought was an interesting choice considering.
Yeah, I did too.
Whole moment that actually occurred, way back when, where she tore up the picture of the Pope, and they actually, obviously she wasn't on the show, but to have her song be there.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I give SNL credit for, in a roundabout way, acknowledging that moment. By bringing back that song, you obviously knew, or any SNL fan would know what's associated with that. So, instead of just blocking it out, it's like, okay, well, yeah, let's play the song and have somebody sing it, and and just kind of acknowledge the coolness of the songs. I think it's a great song.
Yeah, it's a great song. Do you think it was a little bit of inside baseball? Like, if you know, you know?
Maybe. Yeah, for sure. But that's part of what makes SNL great, right? I think they have a lot of if you know type stuff. So,
let's see what else. Another strong weekend update, which I think has been the strength of the show now for the last, I don't know, 3-4 years at least. And I think Jost and Che are probably, I think they're the best combo that's been up there. I think it's kind of hard to top Norm Macdonald, but the thing that sets them apart from me is that whole joke swap thing. I think is hilarious every time they do it.
Love the joke swap. I'm a big fan of Colin Jost. I think he's hilarious, and I love how Che likes to make Colin seem racist every time. And hats off to him, because obviously he's a good writer and a good. It's not like he teeters on the line, but doesn't totally cross it. But he writes racist stuff that everybody can laugh at. In a way that doesn't come off as, bad, if you will. So,
no, I think they're a good combo. I think we were talking about this. I think I was mentioning that I think Ron Bennington from SiriusXM is the greatest radio person of all time, and I love the Bennington show. I just think it's the best thing ever. They did an interview with Jost and Che that I listened to on my drive down today from Georgia. And it was really good. It was about 45 minutes of them kind of going back and forth, and it was really funny. So I don't know if you still have your Sirius XM.
I do.
If you go look up I think it was an Unmasked episode that Bennington did with the two of them. It was really good.
I'll check that out. Yeah, Yeah, Colin Jost he's kind of like a hero of mine. I mean, the guy's on SNL, got a great career. He's married to Scarlett Johansson. I mean, the guy wins just left and right.
He owns a ferry.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's done pretty well for himself, for sure.
Yeah, no
let's
doubt.
see what else. Speaking of Weekend Update, they had Drunk Uncle come back with the girl at the party that you don't want to talk to or whatever. And they
Drunk
had a whole
Uncle,
bit about she's pregnant
yeah.
with his baby.
Saw that. And then
Cecily
Bill
Strong
Murray.
is very pregnant right now.
Yes.
Oh, Bill Murray was good, yeah.
Saw that. And then Bill Murray counting down the top 10 Weekend Update hosts of all time. So
yep.
That was good. That was good. Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that I do it with his brother, Brian Doyle Murray, is number one, I thought was great.
Yeah, right. And Colin not up there. That's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he acknowledged Norm, he acknowledged Chevy Chase, Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, those, Did he, but I don't remember, he did say Dennis Miller. He didn't have Fallon up there, did he? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was a combo with Tina Fey. So it was like Tina Fey and Fallon, and it was Tina Fey and Poehler.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then the Kate McKinnon alien abduction thing that she's always been really good at. With Meryl Streep's first time ever on the show was fantastic.
Yes. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kate
I don't
McKinnon
know how
is
people hold
funny.
it together. Like whenever they do that skit, I feel like there's two people breaking. Usually Amy Bryant is breaking on the one side.
Yes.
And then one of the, celebrity folks is usually breaking.
Yeah, Meryl Streep, very, very good in that. For sure. Yeah. No, I get a kick out of Kate McKinnon. I think she's very talented, and, most skits with her are very funny.
Yeah, she's one of those, I think, that kind of transcended, I think, other folks' success there and will be beloved for a long time.
Yeah. No doubt.
What else? Adam Sandler had a great song that he played kind of 50 years and kind of touching and moving and stuff like that.
Yeah, I believe it was the only standing ovation of the evening. Obviously, brought up Chris Farley and Norm. I think he had Phil Hartman in there as well. Obviously 3 cast members that have passed on, but yeah, I thought Sandler's thing was really good.
I'm just kind of scrolling through this. Oh, and then they ended it with close to the end was a Debbie Downer sketch, which
with De Niro, with Robert De Niro,
which are always fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Not as good as the Disney one. The Disney one is still, I think, the all-time best, just because everybody broke on that one.
Yeah, with Lindsay Lohan. Yeah. That one was,
and of course Jimmy Fallon, who can't keep a straight face in any sketch.
No, no, it's a shame. What I would have loved to see, and I'm kind of surprised they didn't redo the cowbell skit.
I don't know how they would have improved on it.
Maybe not, but I thought, because that's one of their more famous all-timers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think if you can't beat it, let it rest.
Yeah, maybe.
We created this piece of art, right? This performance that is legendary. We can't even try. And
that's fair. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Just be like, oh, so and so wasn't as good as so and so. Like I feel like it sets it up for failure, if that's the case.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it'd have been cool if they were able to get Christopher Walken back in. And obviously Will Ferrell and Fallon were there. Who else was in that sketch? Chris Parnell was in that sketch. Horatio Sands was in that sketch. And maybe that was it.
I don't remember. Yeah. Obviously Will Ferrell, Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, Will Ferrell, Jimmy
Parnell.
Fallon.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Oh, I think the band was only 4 guys. So yeah, I think that was everybody. But yeah, that would have been good. A couple of notable absences from SNL50 though.
Mm-hmm.
If you noticed. No Dan Aykroyd. No
Apparently
Dana.
He was sick, I think. I think a couple of people got sick.
Yeah, Dana Carvey.
And Chevy Chase was there or not there? I don't know, but
he was at the concert.
He was on the periphery of things, but not really invited to anything.
Right. And there was Bill Hader.
Oh yeah, yeah. Which sucks because he's such a classic character. I would have loved to see like a Stefan sketch
Yeah,
or something like that. Be part of this.
it was cool to see Mike Myers bring back part of Coffee Talk.
Yep, yep. He was getting all verklempt.
Uh-huh.
The weakest part of the episode of the special to me was Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
He did not sound good trying to
No.
sing.
No,
I know, look, he's talented, all that good stuff, but his voice was not having it that night.
I respect his career, but yeah, I think it's finally maybe time for Paul to hang it up.
Yeah. I remember it was like, well, this is not great.
Yeah, because on the contrary, I thought Paul Simon at the beginning was very good with who he sang with that Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah.
So,
but I think overall, strong episode. I mean, there were probably some choices in there again that weren't for me, and that's fine. But I'd find it hard pressed to complain about it in any great detail. Were there a couple things could have been better? Sure, but it was a strong episode. I think they got as many stars as they could. Go back into it. It's unfortunate they couldn't get everybody, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but once again, it was a who's who in the audience, right? I mean,
yeah.
You had Ryan Reynolds and his wife Blake Lively. You had Kevin Costner in the audience. You had John Hamm in the audience, and then all the SNL guys. David Spade, Sandler, Pete Davidson was in a bunch of stuff, and just a lot of celebrity just sightings in the audience and stuff.
Well, think about it, like how celebrity packed the concert was, and that was in Radio City Music Hall, which fits way more people. And then going to studio was at 8H or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And, that is much smaller. So now you've got really the who's who.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I thought it was well done. I remember watching SNL50, hosted by, I think it was Fallon and Justin Timberlake, and who also was not there because he was playing a show here in Chicago that night, which is why he wasn't there. But I thought it was great. I thought they paid tribute to who they needed to pay tribute to. You got a taste of each kind of generation of SNL characters. It's like, for me, there's like the original group with like Eddie Murphy and Bill Murray and Chevy Chase and Jane Curtin and Gilda Radner. And then it moves on to like the 80s when you had, guys like Kevin Nealon and Phil Hartman and Chris Farley and all those guys. And then, David Spade and all that whole crew and just on and on and on. It's like, I thought they represented pretty much every era of the show in a way.
Yes. Yeah, they had a good mix. Obviously, the further you go back in, the harder it is to find people who are probably ready and able to be on TV. But then a couple of them, there was like was that Pete Davidson's Chad sketch, or it's like a video recorded thing, right, with one of the original cast members. So they had a good mix, that's for sure.
Yeah. And I didn't realize this, but Kenan Thompson has been on that show for, I thought they said 22 years.
Long time. Longest running by far.
That is crazy. Yeah, I think he's the longest, and I think they said Colin Jost is second longest.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, but Kenan Thompson's Kenan Thompson is over 400 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's still good, right? You still got it.
Oh, he's hilarious.
Yeah, I love the sketch he does with the Scared Straight thing that he did with Eddie Murphy and
Jason Sudeikis. Yeah,
Jason
hilarious.
Sudeikis, yeah. Did you notice that Jason Sudeikis at one point jumped onto the desk, which is a nod to the first time he did it, where they it made a noise or whatever and freaked people out the last time he did it again.
I did catch that.
Yep. Again, it was another one of the inside baseball. If you know, kind of moments.
For sure.
Yep. And I'm pretty sure I heard Eddie Murphy say "fuck" during that sketch.
Oh, wow. Oh, I'd have to go back and listen for that. I did not catch that, but
so I watched it. What do we watch now? We watched it on Peacock afterwards. So it was like the unedited, no commercial version. I am pretty sure he said "fuck" in one of the back and forth as part of that sketch.
I will go back and check that out, because if he did, that's hilarious. Because I know they were cussing up and down on during the concert. I mean, Snoop Dogg was, going nuts, but I didn't know there was any of that on the on the actual show. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, I remember hearing it. Did he just? It's like, okay, well, I guess we're watching it on streaming and it's not broadcast. I don't know.
Yeah, that's funny.
No, it's good. Looking forward to that, to the next, whatever brings us. I think they still need a couple of new cast members to kind of break free. Still Weekend Update, I think, is still the strength of the show for sure. But I like characters like Sarah Sherman, I think has been good. For me, her and Bowen Yang seem to be the two standouts of the current.
Bowen Yang is like on every stinking sketch there is, and he is entertaining. He's and obviously very talented. And I'm not sure which one Sarah Sherman is. I'm really bad at the cast now as to who
He's
they
the really weird
are.
one who does the bit with Colin Jost where she'll sometimes come on Weekend Update and then like totally like belittle Colin Jost about this just in, white news hosts,
I gotcha.
mansplains or whatever. She's good. She's a weirdo, but she's good.
Who's the girl that is in the sketch, with the wedding and the bridesmaids? Who's the bride? Who's the girl that gets married?
I think that's Chloe Feynman.
She's pretty funny as well.
Yeah, and you're starting to see her in other things too. Like she's done some
Chloe
commercials.
Feynman. That's that name sounds familiar. Yeah, she's good. She's solid.
Yeah. And then Heidi Gardner's kind of been there for a while. I don't know if she's kind of separated out, but I feel like there's a lot of new faces that just really haven't really found a place yet. And I'm not sure how long they will be there. Or if they'll have enough time to develop.
For me, it's really hard to top like Molly Shannon or Anna Gasteyer. They were really good. Like the radio bit with Alec Baldwin about the sweaty balls. I mean, that's a classic.
So here's the thing, and something you should, again, listen to that Bennington interview with Jost and Che, because they talked about this and say, okay, well, when did you start following SNL? I'm like, okay, well, they kind of said their things. I was like, all right, well, I discovered it probably in the 90s, I think, around the time of like Hartman, obviously kind of grew up through that era and the next ones. And I don't remember which one was set up, but it's like, you only really remember the good stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of junk and not good stuff, but you tend to remember only the good things and forget everything bad. And I mean, every era of cast has had some really good stuff, but they've had far more stuff that has not been memorable, at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that.
And what I find memorable, you might not find memorable. Like I die laughing anytime we see Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer with Phil Hartman, Yeah. But is that an all-time bit? No.
Yeah, and for me, Phil Hartman will always be either Phil Donahue or Frank Sinatra. Mm-hmm. Hilarious. But yeah, the caveman thing, awesome.
Mm-hmm. Or Schmidt's gay commercial.
Was
that Sandler and Farley? I think it was.
I think so. Just a cartoon, the ambiguously gay duo. I mean, that stuff's hilarious. The super fans with Chris Farley and George Wendt from Cheers. That was the only skit he always ever did. And was it Robert Smigel? And I forget who the fourth guy was, but I was talking about the Bears or the Bulls, and it was funny stuff, man. Chris Farley was that guy. Was just comedic genius. And again, I don't know if a lot of it was calculated or a lot of it was just him being dumb funny because that's how he is. And I'm sure it's a combo of both, but it's a shame that guy had the off-camera life that he did, because he was really funny and talented and just, like I said, a comedic genius, in my opinion.
Yep. Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, don't do drugs. Don't drink, all that fun stuff. So don't do any of that.
So I'm looking at the number of seasons. Kenan Thompson, 22 seasons. Number 2 is Daryl Hammond with 14 of all time. And then Seth Meyers at 13, and then Colin Jost at 12.
Okay.
And Che's been there for 11 too. So he's only a year behind Jost.
Daryl Hammond did a ton of really good characters. God, he was a mainstay as Clinton. He was Bill Clinton all the time.
Okay. Yeah, he had it nailed for sure.
And then Seth Meyers, he did Weekend Update for a while, didn't he? Didn't Seth Meyers do Update?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's really kind of how I think he was a head writer at one point, but yeah, he did Weekend Update. I think that's why he when he went to do the late night show or the late show, whatever it is
Yeah.
that they call it with him, when he first started it was super awkward because you could tell he's just like standing there.
Sure.
And he's so used to being behind like a desk in this there. And then now, he's in his element. He's sitting behind the desk and he's laying everything and
Right.
blah, blah, blah. But yeah, he was good on Weekend Update because it was him and Amy Poehler for a while too.
Yeah, I forgot that he was head writer for a while. You know who else was head writer was Conan. Conan wrote for SNL for a long time. And I think that's where they pulled him from to do late night. So he went the kind of the Seth Meyers route a little bit.
He did that. He also Conan also did Simpsons.
Oh
as
yeah,
well. He was a writer on that. He's had a great career. Jeez.
Oh man, another funny guy.
And he's got a great podcast. I like his podcast a lot. So
I always liked his style of comedy. I liked his I liked his interview style. He was not afraid to, hit on women when they were guests and all that kind of stuff. And he was not afraid to, just challenge people and ask them, kind of anything. And I did come across his interview with Norm Macdonald and Courtney Thorne-Smith that we laughed at last last episode.
Chairman of the board. Do something with that.
That is hysterical.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot
what else you got?
A lot of good comedy came out of that show, man. SNL, just good stuff.
Well, the question now is who takes over for Warren Michaels? Doug and anyone take it over, and they just let it die.
Is he? I was going to say, is he actually retiring? Or?
I don't think he's announced anything yet, but I mean, he's getting up there, and at some point, you're right. Father Time is undefeated, so they're going to have to figure something out.
Yeah. I don't know what you do. It's like, who do you leave that show to? I mean, is that a next move for a guy like Conan, or a next move for a Seth Meyers, or, a head writer?
I think it's got to be somebody from the SNL family. I could see Seth is a good one. I could see maybe Tina Fey coming back for that.
I could see that.
Somebody who's kind of been there and knows how it works and kind of the spirit of the show.
Yeah, sure.
Someone who maybe learned under Lauren's tutelage, right? Yeah. Something like that. I don't know. Or do you just let it, hey, you know what? Time to wrap it up. And we're just not going to continue it. Or at least it won't be called that. It'll be called something else.
That could be. Because obviously 50 years. And is he been there the whole time?
I think so. With the exception, I think, of very early on, I think Eddie Murphy kind of ran things for a little bit.
Yeah, I want to say somebody mentioned that he's been there for like 45 years or something like that.
He took,
I don't know,
some years off. You think he took like 4 or 5 years off, but
okay, maybe that's what they're referring to. Maybe he started the show and then came back to it. There's just so many different things you can associate with that show. I mean, I remember the first show they brought back. Or coming back from 9/11, when they had all the first responders on the stage and, they had their serious moments. And then I forget who was hosting that week, but, somebody cracked a joke and kind of broke the silence. And it was, there was that moment, obviously the Sinead O'Connor, the Ashley Simpson lip sync, fiasco. We were talking about this. Metallica did play Saturday Night Live at one point, at least once. Mm-hmm. They played it. It was like in 1997. They played Fuel, and it was right after like they all had cut their hair and all that stuff. So
oh yes, and everybody was pissed at them because they had sold out or whatever.
Yeah, they sold out.
Yeah.
I remember Jason Newsted said, "Yeah, we sold out every show we ever played."
Yeah,
it's like, well, yeah, I like that. So yeah,
well, it's been in the zeitgeist for however long. It's launched so many careers and spawned so much discussion. And we just did, 30, 40 minutes on it.
Yeah, for sure.
About one episode and a concert.
Yeah, no, it's great. I don't think you could have gotten a whole lot more from it. Let's put it that way.
You mean the special?
Yeah. I think
because at some point it's like, this has gone on too long.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, obviously you had some people missing. I mean, yeah, would it have been neat to see Dana Carvey do the church lady one more time? Maybe.
But he's done that character this
so
season
many times,
a couple times already.
Exactly.
Even just this season alone. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up. Would recommend. I think it's kind of a good kind of synopsis. If you've never seen Saturday Night Live, I think that's a good episode to like. All right, this
is what the show's
here's
about.
kind of what it means. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
And then back it up with a bunch of YouTube playlists of stuff that they couldn't put in. Watch all the Stefan sketches, for example.
There you go.
What else? 45 minutes in. What else you got for me?
Like I said, it's been a slow week, man. I am dying to hear about this job thing. I know I talked about it last week, and we kind of talked about it off air, but so I'm sitting there on Friday, and I'm just waiting for this email. It's either an email or a phone call to come. And I'm just working. I was working from home on Friday, and obviously not really focused on what I was doing because I'm like waiting for this thing. And all of a sudden, I'm on the phone with a coworker, and all of a sudden the email comes. I'm like, oh man, here it is. And I open it up, and I'm reading, and it's like, okay, we have such a strong candidate pool that we need another week to decide. So we hope to have an update for y'all by next Friday. I'm just like, oh, are you kidding me? So now I have to, quote unquote, sweat this for another week. So that's where my work career mode is in limbo right now, because actually not a week from tomorrow, we leave for Arizona for a week. So I'm waiting to hear. I would like to have that either decided or, just at least know before I leave for vacation for the sun and warmth of Tucson, Arizona for a week.
Can you check your email remotely?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I bring my stuff with me every time. So that's not an issue. It's just I would like, I've never unplugged, but I would like to at least know kind of what's going on before I leave. And hopefully that should happen because they said by this Friday. So it's just, again, last week I thought was the longest week of my work life. And this week is going to be just as long, if not longer. So
here we are. It's probably going to feel longer because you've already waited a week, and now it's like, okay, now it's another week. It's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
You got them in misery one way or another.
Yeah, and then it was like, okay, I got the email. Do I send a follow-up email? Do I respond to this? Do I not? I don't want to sound like a butt kisser or anything like that, but it's like I want to acknowledge the fact that, hey, I got the message. I'm engaged. I'm still interested. So I just replied with, hey, thanks for the update. Hope everybody has a great weekend and looking forward to hearing from you next week. And that's all I said. But it's like, you want to still look like you're engaged and like totally interested, but you want to look like you're begging and, some charity case that needs this job. So it's the
delicate balance you have to follow.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just one of those professional, what's the right professional protocol here? So I just gave a quick, short and sweet email acknowledging that I got it, and we'll see what happens.
I think it's good moves. It's like, hey, all right, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here. Trying to remain positive. I'm enthusiastic, but I want to know. But I'll be patient. It is what it is. So, so I got that going on. Saw Jeremy this weekend. They opened up in what was it? Logansport, Indiana, which is in the middle of nowhere, Indiana, for the most part. They played at this high school. They played a college out of Tiffin, Ohio. All AstroTurf high school fields, super nice. Problem is, so they get there on, the original plan was to play Saturday and Sunday, 2 games each. They get there, up until then, everybody was just kind of watching the weather, and it was going to be cold. They were maybe looking at another shot of snow originally. Didn't snow again, but the cold kind of hung around for an extra day. So they pushed the games to Sunday and Monday. So the team gets there on Saturday afternoon, check in the hotel, spend the night, whatever. That way, they can just wake up, and they were scheduled to play at 11 o'clock yesterday. They get to the field, and I kid you not, all of right field, the entire warning track along the outfield, and probably 5 feet from behind the plate to the backstop, the back fence, covered in snow.
Oh.
And in right field, the snow was probably about a foot deep.
Oh.
So we're like, what is going on? And now it obviously looked like a bunch of snow had been cleared off the field, but it's like they chose right field where to collect it.
Right.
Which would be fine.
Is that like a home field advantage? Is that like, something they did like specific?
Well, you have to wonder, or were they playing games there with younger kids? I mean, this is a big, almost major league size field. I mean, these are college guys. I mean, if there was little kids playing on this field, yeah, then snow 350 feet away wouldn't be that big a deal. But these are college kids. So they hit the ball out there. So I get there before game time, and the kids were already there. And there's like 20 of them, all with shovels and brooms and anything they could find trying to get the snow off the field. And they're like, oh my God, wish we had known this. We're going to have to postpone this for hours. They thought they weren't going to play till 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And this is at like 10:30 in the morning. So, yeah. So
who's responsible for the field? Like, why is...
Well, the high school themselves.
How do you not know about this?
How did nobody come out there on Saturday and check this out? If you're going to host 2 college teams, one that's driven about 8 hours to come to your place, and the other one that's driven about 4. If you're going to host these guys, wouldn't you make sure that your field is ready to go?
It seems like a basic...
you would think.
A basic fact to confirm.
You would think. So, after the kids, and they kind of took turns, both teams were working on it and trying to clear and all this kind of stuff. All of a sudden, this guy comes out of nowhere with the snowblower version of one of those riding lawnmowers you would see like out in a field, like one of the bigger ones, right? So he's got the snowblower version. They put that thing in this.
Ride the Valkyries behind it. Dun, 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 dun,
yes.
Dun, dun,
yeah,
dun, dun,
pretty
dun.
much. It was like the cavalry was coming, and he came like up the baseball field, kind of up on a hill. So all of a sudden you hear this motorized thing that is not a car. And all of a sudden you see this guy coming from the distance, and everybody's like, oh yeah. It's like the hero, Superman has showed up. So he got that thing out there and had that stuff cleared probably in about 45 minutes. So they wound up starting, and everything kind of dried out. They wound up starting at about 1:30 and wound up playing the 2 games on Sunday that they had hoped for, and then played one today. But I had to tell you, I used to, when I was younger and the kids were younger, I used to be like, man, yeah, 40 degrees, let's play. Could be great. Sun's out. Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what, sitting out there we were probably out there for about 5.5 to 6 hours for 2 games. Even I know 45 degrees, 42 degrees with the sun isn't all that bad, but you sit out there for that long and you're not doing anything. I had a t-shirt, a long sleeve shirt, a sweatshirt, a Carhartt thick sweatshirt, and my winter coat all on. I could barely move. And I was still cold. My feet were freezing. And then, so we had that, sat through the games. Middle of the games, I had, and this is awful. God, I swear it's like ailment of the week for me, but I guess it's part of getting old. So we went and got Jimmy John's for between the games. Just a normal Jimmy John's sub sandwich. I eat them all the time. Not a problem. I eat this thing, and Jeff, I swear to God, this thing did not agree with me at all. I had the worst stomach ache from probably about an hour before the games were over until we actually drove home. And it was awful. And I just, oh my God. I mean, Michelle drove part of the way home fine because I was driving. I'm like, oh yeah, I could do it. And I couldn't do it. So we stopped, we switched. she drove home. I got home and just finally I laid down and was able to kick it. I took some Tums and some Gas X and got rid of whatever it was. So I woke up this morning feeling fine, but dude, it wreaked havoc on whatever my insides were like last night. It did not cooperate with how I wanted to take the road trip home.
That's the worst, is when you get stuff like that while you're traveling, because you are totally at the mercy. Imagine you're on a flight, right?
Yeah.
And you're in that first 30 minutes of the flight where you can't get up, or the last 30 minutes of the flight you can't get up, or you're at the part where it's like, all right, you got to wait for all the rows ahead of you to, get off the plane. Like that is some white knuckle time right there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because after the games, I mean, we went back to Jeremy's hotel, picked him up, took him to Wendy's to get something to eat. And I'm like, nah, I can't eat anything. And, then he wanted to go to Dairy Queen to get some ice cream. I'm like, yeah, I don't want any of that either. So then we took him back to the hotel and hung out with him for a little bit. And then we left because we didn't want to get back here too late. We got home around 10:30 last night. So not bad at all. But, oh my God, sitting in a car with that situation going on is not good. And like you said, it's like, okay, I feel like I have to stop, but I don't have to stop. So let's keep going. So I want to get home. Maybe I should stop. Nah, I'll be fine. You like have that inner discussion with yourself, and it's just
and then the next thing you know, half an hour has gone by, and you only think it's been like 30 seconds.
Yeah, right. I know.
Or vice versa. You think half an hour gone by, but it's only been 30 seconds. That's even worse.
Yeah, mine. Meanwhile, we're driving up 65 in Indiana, which if you've ever made that drive, there's nothing on 65 to look at, and then finally, when you make that left onto 90 headed towards Chicago, it's like, okay, we're back towards civilization again. And, then I actually fell asleep in the car and woke up and we were just getting off the highway, which is like 10 minutes from our house. So then I'm like, all right, we're here. And Michelle, because I fell asleep, she's got the music just blasting in the car, which is fine because I obviously don't want her to fall asleep, but, she's got her snacks all over the place and all that kind of stuff. And, yes,
it's a travel and the things that can happen.
Yeah. So I had that going on, but woke up today feeling great. And, I think I've finally kicked what felt like a marathon cold that I had. So that feels good. So all's well with me right now. And hopefully no ailments for a foreseeable future.
Oh yeah, man. String together some good games here.
Yeah, damn. I know. It's like, Jay,
let's get on a winning streak here.
Yeah, get it together, man. So yeah, that's what's going on with me. So what's going on with you?
So speaking of winning streaks, probably time for another Polestar update since it's been a week since we chatted.
Yes.
I went out for a drive Saturday, I think. Just kind of got out of the house and kind of do whatever. And I was thinking, okay, it's been a while since I've had any kind of issues with the car. I shouldn't have had that thought.
Knock on wood.
Right.
There's no wood to knock on.
20 minutes later, where was that? I went to UPS store or something, like drop off a package or whatever it was. Get back in the car and I'm pulling out of the parking lot, and all of a sudden I feel the brakes give. Like,
oh no.
This isn't normal because an electric vehicle, you have this setting called one pedal driving, which basically means it's like a go-kart. You're either accelerating or you're decelerating. There's no coasting, like to conserve momentum or whatever, because every time you're braking, you're recapturing that energy and going back into your battery for range. So I drive like that all the time. And I felt the brakes go. I was like, oh, that's not good. And I heard kind of like a noise. I was like,
it's not good.
Now what? My dashboard lights up with a whole bunch of things: driver system fault, electronic stabilized control failure, book of service. Like everything's going like, oh, what the fuck, man?
Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
Yeah, no, exactly. So the brakes still work, which is good, right? So I can still stop the car. And I'm like, okay, and at this point I'm like, okay, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I'm driving. I'm like, okay, well, about half hour from home. Let me get it home and then kind of figure out what I'm going to do there. I pull over. I'm like, okay, well, let me reboot the car to see if that helps. I get in, or I sit there and basically you have to wait a minute or so for it to like reboot and restart. Like that doesn't solve it. Okay. And so meanwhile, this is Saturday.
Okay.
Today is Monday that you and I are recording this right now. And I drove down from Asheville area to basically the Atlanta area, which is about a 3-hour drive or so for me. So this is Saturday. I'm like, I have to drive this car Monday, and with no regenerative braking, that means you're not getting the full range of the vehicle, which severely impacts short range driving because you're getting that much. I'm like, okay, try to figure it out. I get home. I start doing troubleshooting, different types of reboots and stuff like that, and nothing's working. I'm like, okay, so I go inside and got something to drink or whatever, and I said, okay, let me come back outside and do some work on that. I get in the car, everything's fine. I'm like, what the fuck? So I get in the car, I'm like, okay, so all right, well, let me take it out again just to make sure everything's okay, take it down, and I'll get a car wash and, stuff like that. Get back. Everything's fine. Everything's good. No issues. So now it's Monday. I'm like, okay, well, I kind of prepped my better half. I was like, all right, well, I might take the Rivian on Monday.
Yeah.
If this is still a problem, because I'm not going to drive, 3 hours and be stuck out of state with the vehicle. It's just not.
Yeah.
Right. But, I took it out again Sunday. No problems. I drive down here and I only had 2 errors in the 3 hours that I drove.
Hey, all right.
And it was the autopilot system essentially crashing and burning.
Okay.
So the thing that keeps it in the lane and the cruise control and stuff like that. And it's actually a real good system. I actually think it's better than the Tesla system because it's less annoying. But it has a tendency to crash. And when it crashes, like it basically just stops the speed controller. It gives you warning messages saying, I'm going to book a service, blah, blah, blah. But it's kind of like a false error. It's like it doesn't know how to handle a software crash. And so you just turn it back on again and it works fine. And so that happened twice on the way down the 3-hour drive of my brand new Polestar 3 that I paid a lot of money for and still can pay for a lot of money for. I got to a Tesla supercharger down here. It charged quickly. I got great range coming down here. I think it's listed for like 280. And I was going to get close to like 320 or 350 by the time it was all said and done, which is great, which is better actually than the Tesla I had before this. But other than the 2 software crashes, which were like, okay, that's happened before, not a big deal. It's always fun.
Okay, so what would it take for you to pull the plug on the Polestar? Or are you not?
I have thought about this for sure.
Okay.
It has already been in the shop for like 11 or 12 days because of the charging issue I had when I first brought it home and parts and stuff like that. The Levin law in North Carolina is 20 days of unavailability. And so I am absolutely counting any time that it has to go to a shop, and it hasn't had to go to a shop since then.
Right.
That is because of, I'm not counting like, going off the side of the road in the snow and stuff like that. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
Right. But for mechanical issues that are clearly a warranty issue or, defect of the machine, that kind of thing. So if I get to 20 days, that's when I will seriously consider it and be like, okay, I've kind of had enough of the shenanigans. And honestly, I would probably get another Rivian. I'd probably get the pickup truck instead because we already have the SUV, which has been solid. It's bigger than I want it to be. I love the size of what I have right now. Or a Lucid Gravity, which just came out, which again, glutton for punishment, a brand new model year, a brand new model for the company. Gotcha. So I don't know, either that or I don't know what I would do. Maybe a Cadillac Lyric, actually. I know I definitely won't get another Tesla.
No, and I understand why. So we won't need to talk about that. But no, I was just curious because I know you were super excited about the Polestar, and I know you said when all systems are go and everything's
fantastic.
Smooth, it's literally out of this world.
It turns heads everywhere it goes. It's fast.
Yeah, you talk about the stereo in it.
Seats.
Yeah, all that stuff.
1,600 watt stereo system with 25 speakers.
Yeah, it's got all the bells and
in your
whistles.
Headrest. Yeah, it's fantastic.
I just wonder when
if I can't rely on it.
Yeah, when does the pain in the ass part of it outweigh all the fun stuff that comes with it? You know what I mean? So,
well, I'm stuck with it for 3 years. It's at least so.
Okay,
it's not forever, and that's fine. And I'm sure if I run into more issues, I will absolutely complain and be a Karen and do what I did last time and get, monthly payments refunded.
Yeah,
This is not the first time I've dealt with Polestar / Volvo. With this regard, I had the first gen XC40, which was the EV version of their XC40 that we had a while back for it, and that was when I was Volvo. And that car was a nightmare for 7 of the 12 months I had it. And Volvo refunded me 7 of my 12 payments.
Oh, wow.
So I had that car for a year and only paid for 5 months of it. Now, granted, it didn't work for half the time, but they did the right thing on their side. Other than the fact they would not buy it back or they would not take the lease back, which I thought was like, come on, let's just go our separate ways here.
Yeah, so I didn't know this. So is Volvo behind Polestar? Are they like the parent company? Or okay, they used to be.
So Polestar used to be Volvo's like performance brand.
Okay, yeah,
and then Polestar shifted into EVs primarily, or EV only. I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago, and they put out Polestar 2, which is like a sedan version, which is fine. And then I think it was last year. So Volvo is owned by the Geely Group. It's a Chinese company.
Okay.
And even though it's a Swedish manufacturer, their parentage is Chinese. Yeah. And then Polestar split off from Volvo, I want to say like last year. It is now 100% EV and is totally separate from Volvo, but they still share like some software and some vehicle platforms and kind of things like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
But now technically they are their own company. And I love the design of it. It's kind of got that Swedish minimalism. It's kind of the closest thing to like a Tesla interior that you'll find that's not a Tesla. When it works, it's great. But I shouldn't have to say when it works to a very expensive vehicle.
No, you shouldn't.
And if I get to the point where I hit that 20 days, that lemon law, that's when I'm absolutely going to be like, all right, we got to figure this out here, guys.
Gotcha. So obviously that's not 20 days. That's not 20 days from purchase. It's 20 days that it's in the shop for some warranty.
Within the first year.
Within the first year, 20 days it's in the shop for a warranty type issue.
Correct. The vehicle has to be unavailable and not functional to design specification. There's like a whole legal definition of it or whatever, but basically 20 days for North Carolina.
Not due to operator error. Yeah.
Exactly. And like I said, I think it's 11 or 12 already just because of the onboard charger. They had to be replaced and was out of commission for like 2 weeks, waiting for a part from Sweden.
I just think it's kind of funny that we're talking about a Polestar versus a lemon law. We're using those two terms in the same sentence, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, right. It's kind of a weird name, but yeah, they're cool vehicles when they work. It's a shame because they, if they could get their software act together, they could absolutely be dominating. Now, I don't know how well they're going to compete in the new market with tariffs and stuff like that. I think they're going to struggle with that because of the Chinese ownership. But I think they're still trying to figure out ways around that. And actually, they're running a crazy deal right now on Polestars where it's like $20,000 off of the vehicle. They're giving like $15,000, I think, in like clean vehicle credits, which is basically double the tax credit as it exists today before that goes away. And then another like $5,000 if you're a Tesla Conquest owner or something like that.
Okay. I don't even know what a Polestar goes for. I couldn't even tell you what the MSRP on a Polestar is.
Mine was 93.1.
Okay.
And that's a fully loaded Polestar 3.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're fully...
That. Nobody pays that.
Right. And then obviously you're talking about that, obviously you're not paying gas, you're not paying oil change, any of that stuff. So
nope. Pay for charging and that's it.
So I'm sure when you break
I'm leasing it, so I'm only paying for the parts I'm going to use. I'm not going to worry about the depreciation of it in a couple of years, which will cut it in half.
What's the mileage on the lease?
12,000 a year. So I got 36 total.
Okay.
Which is fine for me because I don't, I work from home and I go to the airport. Yeah.
Right.
A trip like this is actually fun for me because I get out of the house and kind of go on a road trip, which doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. You kind of take the car out and be like...
I went down Blue Ridge Mountain Parkway or highway from, Asheville area. So it's like, kind of out in the middle of the mountains and no cell coverage in some areas. So it's fun drive.
Kind of nice. That's kind of nice.
Great. Twisty, turny, get in the corners, So I feel it. But yeah, but for that price, come on, like shit should work. Like basic shit should work.
I fully agree. But I mean, I know you said you were like, first generation or first rollout and there's going to be some bugs, but it's like, okay,
it's worse than I thought it would be. And every
Yeah.
single thing I was like, okay, what are the odds that happened? Like everything has happened.
Yeah, if the problems are that bad, then don't roll it out. You know?
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, how did they get this out the gate? And I remember when I first drove it, I was like, all right, this is it. This is the one I want. And then I put a deposit down on one, and then I think I waited 2 weeks for that vehicle, and I couldn't get it because there was something wrong with the seatbelt sensor in that car, and they couldn't fix it. And they were waiting for some of the Sweden to come out. It's like, okay, well, what else do you got?
Little
And
did
so,
you
like,
know.
Oh yeah, exactly. I should just like, all right, forget it. Yeah, we'll go somewhere else.
This was a sign of things to come.
It was
in your Polestar experience.
Yeah, but it's gotten
Well,
better. Like in the last 2 weeks, they added CarPlay in. They had a massive like software update in the last, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. So it's already a better vehicle. And that's the great thing about these software vehicles is, they're better vehicles by the time you end with it than actually when you started. And Tesla was the same way. The Rivian will be the same way too.
Well, I would invite any of our, 10, 20 listeners, I don't know how many are out there, who also drive Polestars to comment on any YouTube video that we have on their Polestar.
I don't know anyone else who drives a Polestar.
I don't either.
Which is part of the reason I like it. It's unique. It turns heads everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck is that? It's like, especially if you're an EV person like I am, it's like, okay, that's
no, I know
cool.
you are. And yeah,
I'm not a car person. I'm an EV person. I love driving them. They're so fast. They're so much fun to drive.
Well, I remember when I took a ride in your Tesla the one time at Mike's brother's funeral, and that was like taking off.
Oh man, that was forever ago.
Ship.
That was my first one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was out in St. Charles, if I recall correctly. And yeah, we were driving through that one neighborhood, and you're just like taking off in a rocket ship in this little known neighborhood full of houses by the funeral home. I was like, holy cow, we're going to crash. We're going to die. And you're like, yeah, we're fine. And then you're like, I remember you asked me, like, you want to drive it? I'm like, hell no. No way. No, I would need
get old.
I would need a wide open parking lot. And the other time I remember when we were at Dave and Buster's and Chad drove it, and that kid did not want to get out of it. He just kept taking it from laps. Yeah, laps and laps and laps around the parking lot. And I remember his wife and Barb and I were sitting on the sidewalk, and they're like, are they ever going to come back?
It's that electric torque, that instant, you feel it in your stomach. Most EVs will have some of that. Obviously, the faster ones will have more of it, but it's that feel. And I tell you, man, is it 6 years now I've been driving EVs? It does not get it doesn't go away, that feeling. It's like,
I'll bet.
Just feel it. The accelerator.
I liken it when they go to the hyperdrive on the Millennium Falcon in Star Wars, when they, kind of show that action, and all of a sudden the thing is just gone. That's exactly what I felt like. Or when, you're in an F-14 in Top Gun taking off of an aircraft carrier, it's just all of a sudden, boom, you're out of there, baby. It's gone. So that's cool.
I'd like to goose it a little bit when my wife would be drinking something. And be, oh.
Yeah. Like, don't spill in the Polestar. Don't
she
spill.
She absolutely hates that, but it was fun.
Yeah, I'd be like, no food in the Polestar. You can junk up your Rivian all you want, but not this.
No food and no dogs so far. I'm sure at some point both rules will be violated, but as of right now,
of course,
the dogs have not been in it. I don't need dog hair all over it quite yet.
Your dog shed a lot.
That's what the Rivian is for.
Yeah,
one
there
of
you
them
go.
Does. Yeah, and it's blonde hair, so it gets kind of everywhere, and it's much more visible. But
that's fair.
That's what the Rivian is for. We have one of those pet hammocks. They go in the back or whatever. But I'm trying to keep the Polestar as clean and pristine as possible.
Oh, there you go. It's got to look good. Cool. It's cool,
right,
man.
Hour 15, I think. To wrap it up.
Yeah. I got not much else going on, man. Like I said, it's a slow time of year, and waiting for the weather to get warmer. Bears free agency, I'm waiting for. I'm excited for that. They got a lot of cap space to work with. Sounds like they're gonna. They waived a couple guys this week to create a little bit more cap space, which is good. So I think the team is gonna look a lot different here in about a month.
Hopefully they look different, play different, are different, and all the good ways. Not the ways that they could go the other way.
Well, their coaching staff is all in place, so they've got all of that done. And And then, you got free agency and then the draft in about a month and a half. So, I at the very least, I hope their offensive line looks drastically different. So,
put some points on the board. That'll make people happy.
I know. I will say this. I'll leave you with this. I don't know if it was Pro Football Focus or something like that, ran some simulation, and it had the Bears winning the Super Bowl twice in the next 10 years.
Okay.
Going 3 times, winning the Super Bowl twice, and Caleb Williams putting up a Hall of Fame caliber career. So,
that's okay. Well, we heard it here first.
That's right.
Or the next Kansas City Chiefs are the Chicago Bears.
Yes.
3 appearances, 2 wins, and a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah. And I heard talk today of one Aaron Rodgers' next stop being the LA Rams. So we will see about that.
Sean McVay, what are you doing? Don't do that. Don't do that to your team.
I know. That's immediately what I thought. I'm like, why would you trade Matthew Stafford for Aaron Rodgers or swap one out for the other? I mean, even if Stafford retires, I'll be like, why would you bring Rodgers in? That would just be bad. A bad move.
He's cancer.
In my opinion.
I wouldn't take him on any team.
Neither would I. I'd say, Aaron, go back to the cave you spent the summer in.
Here's some ayahuasca. Enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. So
save that money and use it somewhere else. Like I don't know what the upside of bringing him in is.
Not at this point. He's obvious. Yeah, he's not nearly as good football wise as he was anymore. And then all the BS that comes with it, it's like, why? There's no upside to him, in my opinion. So
right. So why would anybody take him? If you're a bad team, now you're spending money to get a has-been washed up quarterback for 1 year? That doesn't help your team.
No.
And if you're a good team, why would you risk the cancer that you would bring into the team?
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense to have him on any team at this point.
No, I don't think so either. So, don't go away, mad, Aaron. Just go away.
Just go away. All right, man.
I'm
done
dude.
with you.
All right. Likewise.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Peace.